What up guys, SuperMetal983 here bringing us another CD review. As you know, I've been putting up quite a few lately, but it's playing catch up, what more can I say? But I've got a metalcore release to review for you today. I know I've been reviewing some death metal and some thrash metal lately. I thought I'd break it up a little bit and put in some metalcore. Obviously I've got a couple more albums that I want to review. I've got a deathcore one and a death metal one, so I thought I'd break it up a little bit and put a little bit of a metalcore release in there. But yeah, this is one that I definitely recommend you check out if you're into the heavier stuff. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yeah, this is the new album from the band Emmure, entitled Look at Yourself. This is released under Sharp Tone Records. Now, everyone knows who Emmure are by now. They are one of the most talked about kind of bands in the whole realm of metal, you could say. Mainly being known for their chugs and 0101 guitar riffage and stuff like that. Nothing at all technical, just the simples of simples and just different rhythmics upon each album, really. They're one of those type of bands, you know, like Emmure and stuff like that. Emmure, Attila, maybe to an extent, Upon a Burning Body, like those type of bands who play like the heavy style of metalcore, not kind of melodic like Killswitch Engage, but they just play the heaviest of heavy. And like Emmure's obviously been one of those bands that's been known for that, and over the years, they brought out some pretty good albums, in my opinion. Like I am a fan of them. Like, my favourite album of them has to be Speaker of the Dead. Speaker of the Dead is an absolutely amazing album to me. It's groovy, it's heavy, it's just, I wouldn't even say brutal, just punishing, really. It's just one of those heavy albums. And the Emmure I've always liked in general, because they obviously got that heaviness, because I love heaviness. If it's simple, if it's tech, I like it. But they've always had that sound, but then they've also incorporated kind of like a new metal kind of feel into the vocals and the vibes on the album and the lyrics and stuff like that. But to me anyway, they've always put out a decent album. I only own 3 of their CDs. Obviously I own Speaker of the Dead, which is my favourite album. I also own Felony, which is the album before Speaker of the Dead. That one's a really heavy album, but I don't know, like, after a couple of listens, it gets really boring to me. And then Slaves to the Game, I can't stand that album. I've got it on CD, and I don't even touch it. I think it's damn boring album, and just something, no. But their last album, Eternal Enemies, was an alright album. It was a step forward in the right direction, I felt. It was a good album. It was heavy, and it was better than Slaves to the Game by miles. But it was nowhere near Speaker of the Dead, in my opinion. But after Eternal Enemies came out and they did a bit of touring, the band basically quit on Frankie, the singer. All the members left, and there was only Frankie left, and loads of speculations went around that was the end for Emmure, but it wasn't. Frankie went and got himself a new band behind him. If I'm not mistaken, it's the guitarist, bassist and drummer from a band called Glass Clouds, who, if you don't know, they're like progressive metalcore kind of band. They're pretty good. I really like them. I need to get their CDs, Perfect War Forever and their debut, which I can't remember. But anyway, so it's the new lineup, and obviously I was expecting a new sound, and would it be something good? Would it be something bad? I don't know. But when the album got unleashed, I decided to give it a check. I mean, I checked the first single at the release, which was, I believe, Torch. Yeah, Torch, which I listened to it once and I thought, yeah, this could be something interesting. And then after about 2 or 3 listens, I really got bored of it and took it off my iPod straight away. But I think that was quite short-lived, because not too long after, obviously, I picked up the album. And, well, not too long saying that, it was a couple of months. But when the album got unleashed, I checked it out, and it exceeded my expectations and blew them out of the water. I was expecting not the greatest of albums and nothing too impressive, but this album is actually very, very impressive, I have to say. I think this sound, what they're going for now, what it's got going for it more, is a lot more of a diverse kind of sound to Emmure. Like, Emmure's obviously been the heaviest of heavy, simplest of notes, but it doesn't have that feel anymore, that it's like the boring kind of like simple of simples kind of vibe. It's got a bit more going for it, in my opinion. Like, if you listen to the album, you can actually feel that it's not like it's like a new monster has been awoken in Emmure. With this new lineup, obviously it's going to sound completely different to the original lineup, but I dig it. I dig it a lot more than I was expecting. I think it's got a lot more attack and a bit more of a, like, as I said, bit diverse kind of vibe. Like, obviously Emmure is obviously the sound what they've always gone for, but this has a lot more going for it with the use of the 9 strings and the 8 strings on this album. You could definitely hear it on this album clear as day, and I think that has kind of pushed a bit more boundaries for Emmure and where they can take the heavy style what they've been known for and push it to a new league of what Emmure can do and what they can pull off with that sound. I mean, if you listen to Josh Travis's other band, obviously Glass Cloud, and the band he used to be in before that, the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza, if you listen to them and listen to Emmure, it's very, very different. But I think you can tell straight away it's Josh Travis writing these riffs, because they've got that style that he kind of go for, like a really interesting sound and a kind of not conventional way of playing this style. It's kind of a little bit more still groovy as fuck. Like, I absolutely love the grooves on this album. It really makes you do, as me and my mate Sean call it, the pigeon movement, where you bop along like that. It's got that kind of vibes throughout the entire course of the album, and that's what I really, really dig about it. Is it feels it just feels like the past couple of Emmure in general was just trying to be heavy on. It was heavy, and then there was the even heavier bits in the breakdown, but it was like that for every song, and to me, like, sometimes it got ridiculously boring. I think that's why some albums didn't click with us. But Speak of the Dead definitely had a lot more going for, like this album does. I think the riffs are just a bit more interesting and a bit more intricate and have a different feel to them, and it gives it that freshness that Emmure needed, in my opinion. Like, as I said, I like old Emmure, but this definitely opens up a new gate for Emmure. The drums sound very, very good. Very, very good, sorry. They kind of have a bit more of a more dampened kind of sound to it that metalcore's been starting to get into this day, where it's a bit more percussive. Like, obviously it's drums, but like a more percussive tone on the drums, and it locks in very well with the drums and the bass, bass and guitar, sorry, and it definitely hits hard. The drums definitely have a bit more of a different feel to them. Obviously they're still simplistic and they're still heavy and hit at the right times, but it definitely has a different vibe. Like, I mean, there's a bit more groove in there, I feel, with the drums, and it creates this new sort of rhythmic patterns in there that I think quite unique for Emmure, that definitely unlocks it. The bass is very it's like the perfect glue between the drums and the guitar, because I'll get back to the bass in a second, but the guitar is very, very percussive sounding. It's not like really low and very bassy. It's very bright and very percussive, if you ask me. Like, very rhythmic, and it has a little bit of a bite and a grit and attack to it that you have. But with that tone, you needed something to give it a bit more oomph. And that's what the bass is obviously meant to do in a band. But that bass tone is very rumbly, very, very well audible in the bass, and it makes the record pop that little bit more. It keeps the heaviness there, but it locks with the guitars very, very well. That you've got that bright, heavy attack from the guitar, but then a warm, nice surrounding bass behind it, and obviously the drums, as I said, which were pretty clean as well, but still quite dampened, if that's even fucking way to describe it, but it really locks in very well. It's a bit more of a higher end production, I feel, but I think it adds a lot more to what Emmure has. Like, they've already done the heavy stuff, but it was nice to have them have this kind of vibe. And along with the guitar, it kind of has a bit of a djenty kind of tone, but it's like a percussive djenty, but not like the stereotypical djent, obviously, tone. And it really has a bit of a unique vibe, and that's what I think I like so much about this album, how it sounds completely different in a lot of aspects to old Emmure, but it still keeps that tradition of what heavy and grooves that have been known for, and there's even some of the regular, like, crazy effects, like kind of higher end stuff going on, that's it kind of makes us picture, like, this album in general, and even Emmure, it kind of reminds us of if it's like metalcore new metal, or new metalcore, kind of. That's the kind of vibe I always get with Emmure, is it's kind of, and even Attila, to be honest, but it's kind of like new metalcore kind of stuff. That's how I picture this record and this album in general, and even Emmure in general. But yeah, awesome musicianship going on. I really enjoyed this album a lot. Frankie, though, I feel like there's definitely a lot more emotion in this album. Like the past couple of albums, in fact, even Speaker of the Dead, to an example, I've never felt really much emotion coming from the vocals. I feel like yeah, the sound's sick, but I don't feel a lot of emotion, and it sounds like it's actually overpowering and just like, yes, I'm here, I'm Frankie Palmer, you know. That's what I want to feel, because that's obviously what Emmure is obviously known for, is Frankie Palmer. I think that's his name. But anyway, but everyone knows Frankie, everyone knows Emmure because of Frankie, and I've never felt that commanding sense that I am here, I am Frankie. Whereas this album, I really do. I think there's a lot more emotion to it, and I think that obviously has a lot to do with the lyrics. There's a few bits that have been targeted and aimed at the past members and how he felt about it and stuff like that. But I really feel it's unlocked a bit more emotion in Frankie, and he's obviously managed to home in that and use that as kind of like a tool, you know, like to push what it is. And the lyrics are absolutely fantastic, I have to say. I really enjoy Frankie's lyrics, very new metal influence, and I definitely feel like there's a lot of emotion put into these lyrics. And I definitely think this is one of the most solid Emmure albums to come out. Like, it's obviously way better than Slaves to the Game. I think it's way better than Felony, and obviously the light's coming in a little bit because it's like the roof's like slanted. Moving on, but Slaves to the Game, much better than Felony. I think it's a way better album to enjoy than Eternal Enemies. Like, Eternal Enemies had Nemesis, that was the only good track in my opinion on that album. Is it better than Speaker of the Dead? I think it's just as good, in all honesty. Like, I really love Speaker of the Dead, but I think this album is going to grow into my favourite Emmure album, and quite rightly so. I think the new lineup definitely is what Emmure needed. I think it was the best. It was for the best that those guys left and formed whatever they're doing now. And it was able for a new band to come in and create something new and give it a bit of freshness, because that's what I feel like Emmure actually needed. And I actually really enjoyed this album. I enjoyed it way more than I was expecting. I might as well point out that another pretty boring album cover and packaging kind of thing. It's obviously a digipack, but look at yourself. Obviously this bit's reversed, but and that bit's reversed. I don't know if it actually reverses it on the camera, but probably not. But yeah, quite a boring packaging now, but the last album didn't have great artwork in my opinion. But this album is actually pretty sick, and I think you need to check it out. If you didn't think the last couple of new albums have been up to par, then definitely give this an opportunity. I've really dig it. And to check out for songs, Shinjuku, Master Lord, Smokey. Smokey's like quite short song, but it's definitely killer. Iceman Confessions, Russian Hotel Aftermath, Turtle in a Hair Machine, Torch, and Googie Prison, that last track. God, the sun's really coming in. I'll look awful. But yeah, make sure you check out this album and give it an opportunity. If you're into metalcore and you want something a little bit more different to hear that you've already heard of Emmure, definitely give this a chance. I'm going to give it... Oh, let's give it... I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think this is a really solid album and definitely something that's unlocked a new era for Emmure, and definitely something that I'm really looking forward to hearing the rest of the future. And hopefully one day I get to see Emmure with this new lineup and just hear the riffs, really. There's a lot of riffs to enjoy on this album. But yeah, make sure you check out this album. I think it's excellent. But yeah, I'll see you until the next video, and make sure to check out Emmure. I'll see you later, and remember, stay metal. Laters.